Okay. So with today's lesson, we're gonna go over the list of verbs you need for your everyday life and how to use them. Now, many approaches to Spanish, they tell you like the high school approach. You have to conjugate 7,000 million verbs and do it for weeks on end, and then you puke it on your paper, you do your term exam, you're moving on, and then you finish with them. That is the most boring way in the world to learn that. Nobody remembers the high school verbs. Think about it. If you took it in high school, you maybe remember 2, 3, 4 of them, not the whole term. We're not going to do it that way. The reason we learn verbs is because these are actions. Every verb equals an action. To sit, to pay, to come, to go, to give, to pick up. Those are actions. And most of what we say in our everyday life, it's actions. I'll call you tomorrow. Can you call me? Can you order me coffee? I'll be right back. Do you want me to get you anything? Have a seat. All of those words are actions. So we have a list of 72 the most commonly used verbs in Spanish. Pretty much we're going to take your life, your everyday life, and translate them into Spanish. So you can talk the way you talk with your friends, with your family, with everybody you know. Today in English, you're going to be able to do it in Spanish. So for that purpose, I'm forwarding on the screen 2 documents. It's called Verbs number 4 and Verbs number 5. Now, these are very general documents. During my time, oops, hit my computer by mistake. During my time teaching Spanish, I worked with many people from many different walks of life. Some of them build a house here in Mexico. Some of them work here. Some of them were recruited and moved to work here. Some of them have school-age children. So my verb documents are very general. You're going to find some verbs that refer to parents-teacher meetings or building a house and dealing with your workers or remodeling your kitchen. If you don't need those specific verbs in your everyday life, feel free to scratch them off and ignore them. The recommendation for those 2 documents is this. First of all, print both of them, staple them together, and write down verbs 4, verbs number 5. So when we look at them during the lessons, we are looking at the exact same thing. Next, you can scratch off the words you already know. Then you can scratch off the words you think you're not going to use. You can also make an underscore, make a line, or take a highlighter, and you can divide the words on that list for 2 tiers. The first tier and the second and third tier. The first tier is the one we use the most. Come and go, sit down, put, drink, take. Those are words we use way more often in our everyday life. So you probably want to learn those first. Because it's quite a large list, it's inevitable. We cannot just make along on the language with like 15 words only. At the end of the day, you're going to learn a lot of words. The trick is to break them down to smaller segments. So you learn 2 or 3 at a time, 2 or 3 at a time, move on to the next set, the next set, the next set. That's how you break down this whole list. So you want to absorb all those words. At some point in your life, you will know all of them by heart. Now, because every verb in Spanish tells you who's doing the action and at what time frame, pretty much every verb is conjugated. You're always going to know who's doing the action at what time tense. The exception to that is the root verb. Just like in English, to act, to eat, to sit, to come, to go, to pay. Those are the root verbs in actions. I ate, I will be eating, I am eating. Those are the conjugated versions. But to eat is the name of the action. To sleep, to shower. The verbs you see on that list, on the 2 documents, are the root verb. They're not conjugated. You see examples in brackets in English to give you an idea how to use them. Most of those work the exact same way as in English. To pay, to sleep, to pick up, to go out, to go down. It's very straightforward. Some of them are used in a little different way. We'll learn that down the line. Every language is a little different. The way we speak is a little different. So we'll have a lesson on that. The second thing I want you to know is that after you've printed the verbs, the very easiest way to learn them, first of all, during the lessons, keep those 2 printed documents on your desk. When you're doing your practice sentences for homework, when you want to talk to people besides classes, when you just want to read it to yourself in between classes, keep those 2 verb documents printed out on your desk somewhere easy you can see them. You want to refer back to them as often as you can, because that's how they're going to sink in. One day you're not going to need the papers anymore. You'll just have it all here. Before you get to that point, one easy, sneaky way to learn by heart a lot of words is to take a Post-it, write down 2 words, no more. You're literally going to write down to go equals ear, to pay equals pagar. Pick the verbs you're going to need the most, put 2 of them on a Post-it, put that Post-it somewhere you can see it multiple times per day. It's going to be your fridge door, your bathroom door, your bedroom door, the door to your house, anywhere you're going to see it a lot of times. Every time your eyes fall on those words, you're going to read them to yourself. Before you know it, they sink in. That's a proven way to do it. So you can have 2 Post-its with 2 different colors. That's a really easy way to like color code, right? 2 words on this one, 2 words on this one, put them on opposite side of the house, replace those Post-its every 6 or 7 days. Essentially, if you look at those words every day for a week, you'll probably know them by heart, and then after every week you can replace and put new words. That is the trick of the verbs. So right now what you're going to do is you're going to open the verb document, you're going to print it out. If you don't have a printer, then just do it after the lesson. Look at those, scratch off the words you already know, scratch off the ones you think you'll never use because you don't build a house, you don't have kids here, whatever, they're not that important for you. Focus your energy and attention on the ones you use the most, okay? This is a select list, and it's pretty much all the first tier. When I say first tier, I mean the words we use the most every day. You can't really have an effective life without saying go, sit, come down, come back, pay, bring, get, put, etc. So just use the common sense approach, super simple logic. And once you figure out the words you're going to focus on more, put them on Post-its, put those Post-its in your house, start absorbing them. And keep the 2 printed documents on your desk. Always refer to them during homework, during the lessons. I don't care if you keep them on the desk for the next 10 months. That's good. You will eventually know all of them by heart. You will eventually not need the papers anymore. You won't have to refer to them. But until that moment comes, you don't need to guess. You don't need to memorize. Just keep them on your desk for reference. That is the end of the instructions for the verb document. Next, I'm going to give instructions on how to use them.